Hey guys, Jared James here, and I want to talk to you about something today that I think is extremely important, and that is how to stop being overwhelmed by your real estate business. And the truth is, I think a lot of you that will be watching this will be within the real estate industry, and then this really applies to any business that you're in. We get overwhelmed. You know, we live in a world right now where content is so readily available. There's content everywhere through YouTube and Google and all these other places, and there's experts and there's all these different voices that ultimately for a lot of people get you confused. And what I've really learned is that when people are confused, they don't necessarily act, right? I mean, when you go to try to buy a new car and you're negotiating and you go back and forth and you feel kind of confused, you don't know if you're getting a good deal or not, do you act? No. The equation for action does not include confusion in any way. And yet, there's so much good stuff out there. I mean, I'm not saying this content is bad. I'm just saying that there's a lot of it, and there's a lot of voices, and we're listening to all these things, and some of us are doing so much of everything else other than actually selling houses, right? You know, I was at an event the other day, and I said to the audience, I said, you know, how many of you in this audience right now, knowingly right now as you think about it, are paying for a product or service every single month that you have not touched or used or thought of in the last 6 months? And about 75% of the audience raised their hands, which told me that 25% of them were liars. Because we all fall into this. You know, we look at things and we're like, that's amazing, it's going to do this to my business, it's going to radically change this, and it's going to do all these things. And the truth is, they might be able to. But you may not be in a position structurally to actually leverage that thing, right? If I go and buy some kind of cross-training bike or something to drive across the country because this is amazing, it's going to put me in the best shape of my life, and I never hop on a bike once, that bike does me no good. It doesn't matter that it can make it across the country. I myself am not ready to pedal across the country. And that is the story of what so many of you are doing within your real estate business right now. And so I want to talk about, and you're going to want to share this with your colleagues, with your friends, with a lot of different people, because this is going to help you. I want to talk about 4 different ways to really start to take control over your real estate business and the chaos that exists and the confusion and all those things. Let's talk about 4 different ways, okay? First one I want to talk about is this right here. Eliminate what you aren't using. This is one of the first things we do with all of our one-on-one students, is that we do a full audit of their finances and we say, hey, it's not a matter of whether this is a good thing or whatever it may be. It's a matter of you're not ready for it right now. And what we try to do is we try to actually save them right in the beginning more money than they're actually going to spend on coaching, because they don't realize how much money they're wasting, right? How many things are going towards, we call it a budget, but in most of your cases, there's no budget. There's just this litmus test that occurs about, is it good or is it not, right? We teach people that when it comes to real estate finances, you've got to have a goal for your income and a goal for your expenses, because there is a cost of doing business. But when you don't have a goal for your expenses, and you don't know what the ROI is of different things, and you don't know specifically what you're going to use this year, what you do is you jump around from speaker, coach, trainer, next, content, video, whatever, and you go, is that good? Sure. All right, I guess I'll buy it. And it's not helping you. So the first thing you need to do is go through and eliminate what you aren't currently using. Not that you won't be using it 8 months from now, but you're not using it right now, so stop paying for it. One of the greatest principles that I live by is that doing the right thing at the wrong time is still the wrong thing. Look, I've been married to my wife for more years than I can even remember right now. I've been with her longer than I haven't been with her. I've been with her since I was 16 years old. That's freaking crazy. And it's the right thing that I'm married to her, right? Now, if I married her when I was 11, probably not a great idea. Right thing, wrong time. That's a sick example, but you're going to remember it, okay? Doing the right thing at the wrong time is still the wrong thing. You need to eliminate what you aren't using. The next thing we need to do, the second step here, which you see right here, is we have to prioritize according to your talents. Now, I taught a class the other day for a company, and I talked about all the various ways there are to create business. And there are a ton of ways to create business, right? And so I talked about pay-per-click, and I talked about prospecting, and I talked about internet leads, and I talked about Facebook targeting and now Instagram targeting, and we talked about referrals, and we talked about direct targeted marketing, and we talked about all of the open houses and all these various things, and farming and geographic farming and all of these various things. But the truth is, what you need to do is it's great that all those things work, but you need to decide for yourself, what are your talents? What are your skills? What are the things that you get excited about? What right off the bat right now are you going to take off from? What's going to get you excited? What are you going to get the greatest result from for you right now? It doesn't mean that we're not going to do those other things later. It means right now we're going to focus. I heard a guy at an event I was at recently, and he told the audience, New York Times best-selling author, stop doing things you don't like doing. And I'm sitting there and I'm going on next and I'm thinking to myself, great, now I have to go fix this. Because we have to do things we don't want to do. I'm going to go running later. It's going to suck, but I'm still going to do it, okay? We have to do things that we don't want to do. But we have to start with the things that are going to be most productive, that we're going to get the most out of according to our talents and skills, so that we start to create more revenue, which ultimately then fuels us being able to leverage the other platforms and the other ways of creating business and throwing more lines in the water and having more revenue streams in our business. But we have to start somewhere, in the place that you're most passionate about and talented with and gifted with is probably the place to start, okay? So prioritize according to your talents, and what that means is, if you are really great in front of people and you know that people respond to you and they like you, then maybe you need to start doing things like our new listing prospecting letter and getting out there and actually talking to people and really letting them see you and interact with you. Maybe you need to start with the networking, business to business locally, and doing those kind of things. If you know that you're great at overcoming objections and you love the challenge of that and you love to just dial and pick up, maybe you need to get started with the internet lead side. Maybe you need to start with prospecting. Maybe you need to do some training on for sale by owners and realize that 80+% of them work with a realtor, and just retrain yourself to understand that you're not calling them to list their house, you're calling them to get an appointment and learn how that works. And now that's the place you need to leverage. Maybe you can see there's so many different places that maybe you are an awesome marketer and you get a high off of figuring out how to get something in front of somebody and how to write the right thing and use the right color and get them to respond to you. And you need to get involved in Facebook ads, or you need to get involved in pay-per-click and creating those good ads that really separate yourself. You need to figure out what it is that whoever you are right now that's listening, what you know you're good at, what you know you excel at. That's where you're going to start, because you're going to prioritize according to not mine, not your talents, your skills, your giftings. And once you start to leverage those and you start creating more revenue because you're focusing on that one thing, then we can talk about later on how you start implementing those other systems. In fact, we're going to talk a little bit about it right now, because our third step is this bad boy right here that you've been trying to figure out what the heck that means, right? Commit to the unsexy. The unsexy things in your business, when I look at my own business, when I look at every company I've ever run, the majority of the revenue comes from this point right here. It comes from the things that I do, the hours that it takes, that are boring, that are monotonous, that are completely unsexy, that ultimately create the revenue. I'm talking about the fact that once you figure out what your talents are and you start working that revenue stream, that after you kind of manage it and you kind of really master that thing, now what you're going to do is that you're going to get with your CRM or with whatever product you're using, because products are important when you use them. You're going to get with that thing and you're going to take the time late at night, when the hours, dark in your office, whatever, to set up the step-by-step process, the system that ultimately is going to start to systematize that thing, which is going to free you up to make money in other ways. But you have to take the time to actually create the systems, to do the unsexy things. Think of it like this. Many of you listening right now live in a house that you enjoy the heat, the warmth. You enjoy the fact that it's put together properly and it's structurally okay and it's safe and it's all of these things. And you enjoy that, but the truth is somebody did the unsexy work of building brick upon brick, of actually putting up the sheetrock, of actually painting, of actually putting in the boiler or the furnace, putting shingle by shingle on top of that roof so that when it rains, you don't get wet, so your family doesn't get wet. They actually planted grass seed, and now you experience the benefit of saying, I could live here for 30 years. Now, that's a great thing, but it's also a bad thing, and here's why it's a bad thing. Because you've gotten used to moving into places where other people have done the unsexy step-by-step, and now you step into your real estate business and you go, what the heck is going on? Why do I always feel like everything's so confusing? Why do I always feel overwhelmed? And it's because you don't realize that nobody is going to build your real estate business like they built your home. You have to stop and shingle by shingle and step by step and seed by seed build it yourself and do the unsexy things, which means you don't just pay for a CRM, it means you actually take the time to experience the benefit that will come if you actually take the time and build step by step what systems, what processes have to be in, what follow-up processes are in place, what automatic reminders come back to you, what emails go out automatically, what videos, how do they get round robin to somebody on my team, how do they, and actually taking the time to do that is what's going to make the difference between you having a long-term business or you constantly living paycheck to paycheck, getting freaked out when a deal falls apart, wanting to coach with somebody like my company, but knowing you can't afford it because you're always month to month, week to week, spending money on things that you know that you don't use and everything else. And I think that probably describes a lot of you listening right now. And that brings us to our fourth point. And our fourth point is very simple. It says you got to make a decision that this is your career, not a job. And there is a difference. Now, why do we hate decisions? Because ultimately with decisions come consequences, right? And so there's a lot of things that go on throughout our day and we're confused and we don't know what to do, and so ultimately we don't make a decision. But how many of you listening right now know that not making a decision is in itself say it with me now, it's a decision, right? And in the same way, those laws still exist. Not making a decision, which is a decision, still brings a consequence. It's the exact same thing, right? And so we have to make a decision that, look, we want to be Rome. We want to be here for the long haul. We need to stop acting like a teenage boy trying to close on the first date and just say, wait a second now, this is my career. We tell people, I've got a couple consults coming up right now, one-on-one consults. I'm about to jump on my computer, do some video things, and I'm going to tell the people I talk to, I need you to understand something, that anything that can get built overnight can get torn down overnight. That's not what we're looking for. I need you to commit to a career. I need you to burn the boats when you're going to war on that island and understand the only way to get off is to win the war. I need you to get rid of all excuses and all backup plans and all other things and say, this is my career, this is the only way. And if that means that I have to spend 4 months setting up my CRM and my systems correctly, and then I've got to spend 2 months setting up my next revenue stream, my next system for that, and then I've got to set. We're not looking to change your business overnight. We're looking to spend the next 6, 12, 18 months creating the predictable business that you deserve so that ultimately one day that career that you've invested in from an entrepreneurial perspective becomes a saleable asset with proprietary systems, not something that just paid your bills. Because if your real estate business is just something that paid your bills, one day it'll be something that just doesn't pay your bills anymore because you never took the time to commit to the unsexy. Do you see how this works? Okay, so let's go through this again. 4 steps. We want to eliminate what we aren't using right now. That's a crucial step. We want to prioritize according to your talents, not my talents. Stop trying to be me. Nobody's going to be me like me, just like nobody plays Michael Jackson like Michael Jackson. We all know an impersonator when we see him. You want to commit to the unsexy. That is probably one of the biggest steps. Stop with the shiny object syndrome stuff and understand that this is a tool that has the ability to provide for you, your family, your future life, whatever, for years and years to come if you will commit to the unsexy. And fourth, make a decision. Make a decision. Don't watch this and not make a decision because you still made a decision, okay? Some of you need to go to our website, jaredjamestoday.com, and you need to get into one-on-one coaching. You need to get into virtual coaching. Some of you already have coaches. Leverage those people. Use those people. Use them for everything you can and actually get a benefit from doing it, okay? Now, if you're watching this right now, I hope you will subscribe. It's in the bottom right-hand corner. You can subscribe on YouTube. We do videos like this all the time. If we're not connected yet, guys, go to www.connectwithjared.com. You can see all the various places you can connect with me. I give advice like this on many different platforms. You better be following on Snapchat at Jared James Today. That's probably my favorite platform. I hope to see you on there. If you do follow me on there, send me a snap. Let me know you're there, guys. I hope I get the chance to connect with many of you soon. I hope I get to see you at an upcoming event that I'll be speaking at, guys. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.